YouTube to say it's preparing to live stream. A little message come up saying meeting is now live streaming. So it's all seems to be working. So the seeing hasn't been too good tonight, but what I'm going to do now, a few more coming in. Samantha. Hi, Samantha. I'm going to share my screen. And if I can find it. And I just lost my N.I.N.A connection. Here we go. Can you see that?
Yeah.
Yes.
So that's a very little wobbly image of Saturn, which I got earlier. A few more coming in. I just got to let them in. Here comes a mic. So tonight, I think the idea is, I know John Maclean's got his telescope up and running, and he hoped it wasn't going to be cloudy in Exeter. It's nice and clear here. So we're just going to, it's very much a sort of trial run and just see how we go on.
Want to see it?
We do.
I've got the video off. Oh, I haven't got the mute on.
So this very little wobbly image of Saturn was caught about 5 or 10 minutes ago. And what I'll do is just show very basic steps of what we do to go through in processing them. This is actually taken with a mono camera. So this is probably imaged in with a clear without a filter on it. So I'll just go through the through the steps, but normally you'll go through the process of imaging, taking images in red, green and blue. Or if the planet's really low down, here comes Jonathan, I use an infrared pass filter that's not so susceptible to the poor seeing conditions. So, okay, I'm just going to stop that. So what we're using is this little program called Auto Stacker. And all you have to do, it comes in two sections. You have your working page and the image page on another window. So you press open and it asks you for an image, these are all video files. So we'll click that one. And then what we do, very simple. It asks whether you're got an image of the surface, either the moon or the sun or a simple planet. So this instance, we've got a planet. So we tick that box there. You press the analyze button and away it goes. So what we've taken 2,000 frames. Here comes Des. We've taken 2,000 frames. It's run an analysis and it's ranked them according to quality. So your best images are up here and the worst images down this side. So what I normally do is where the green line crosses the line, that's the best 50%. So what we will do, we'll click on that line there and it will put up the frame percentage to stack, in which case we've chosen 50. Here comes John Maclean. Hello, John, are you there? So it's chosen that we told it to select the best 50. And what we do now is place what we call the AP, the active point grid. Press that button there. And that will put a whole little series of red dots over the planet, which we'll use for its alignment.
David, can I just ask a question?
Yeah,
Yeah. What do they? It's the close to edge, replace, and multi-scale. What do they do?
right. Now, I always started using close to the edge. I listened to a little video. It's well worth listening to the video by a chap called Chris Go from the Philippines. He's probably one of the best planetary imagers in the world. He's even better, I think, than Damien Peach. But he ran through and he says it's better not to select close to the edge. That puts all the little points around the edge of the planet. You thought it would be the best option, but apparently isn't. Multi-scale, this allows your little boxes. You choose these little boxes here, the AP size, to be different scales. So you can use big ones and small ones. It's better to use a multi-scale, apparently, as an option. I don't know why the technicality is. I'm just doing what I was told.
Right.
So
Yeah. Thank you.
Once it's done that, the other option you do, if you're using a very small image scale, and what we tend to do is crop the region of interest to a small little box around the planet you're imaging, because that will save on your computer memory, and particularly you want a higher frame rate as possible. So you might end up with little small images. I mean, this one is probably only about 160 by 128, so it's a pretty tiny image. So if you use a drizzle box, drizzling allows the image to be resampled to a larger scale. I think this routine was developed for the Hubble Space Telescope, but it's very popular. So I drizzle about 1.5 times, so I make the image 1.5 times bigger than it was before. And then just press the stack button and away it goes.
We started already.
So once it's done that, it's very quick, because I'm just going to move you down here. Then I go to Regis stacks, and we go to select, and we've been looking at Saturn, and
Hello.
it was, let me see, it would have been this image here would have been done. So in Registrax, you get your little picture up and you have all these different sliders. So there are lots of different routines you can use. I tend to use default, but I think might use the Gaussian. And literally if I press it, let's go to reset. You'll see we've ended up with a stacked, fairly blurry image. So by using all these sliders, you will see it sharpened. Generally, I use 2 or 3. And it's gradually coming sharp now. These ones at the bottom here, I think they're a bit too coarser. But you get the general impression. You can probably step increment it, but this will probably overblow it. So that's overcooked it. So you don't use that all the time. So once you do that, you press do all and save. Hang on, here comes Peter Bradley. Press save, and therefore it's stored that image as a JPEG in the same directory that ASI Stacker made. And then you can go on and use for the final processing, like Photoshop, which I've done here. It's a picture I took earlier and I've smoothed it.
It started
somewhat.
already.
But you can see here it's called the Cassini division, and you've got the shadow of the globe on the rings.
Yes.
Here's a little picture I combined. This is a red, green, and blue image of Jupiter I caught about half an hour ago. It looks like we've got the transit of Ganymede. Well, I know which one it is, one of the moons just coming in. So, hello, John. Are you there? John Maclean? No. Hello, Peter Bradley.
Yep, I'm here, David.
Are you geared for go?
Well, we can have a go. The seeing is very poor.
Yeah,
but
I found that.
What do you want to look at?
Well, have whatever your telescope's on. Just see if you've. I'll
just
stop
see,
sharing my screen now and let you share yours.
Well, we can try. Let me just put that up a bit and see what happens. There it should be. It's NGC 869.
Okay, so can you share your screen?
How do I do that?
If you look at the bottom, you have a green share screen button. If you click that.
Hold on. Oh, which were we looking at?
Right at the bottom of your screen, can you see
yes.
a green button?
Hang on a sec.
Share screen.
Yeah, but share content. Is that it?
So you can either share your desktop or you can share your team viewer or whatever you're using to show your computer image.
Right. I've got to get this. Oh, hell, what's happened there? Hello? Share content. I don't know what all this is about.
Can you see your team viewer screen? Were you using team viewer?
I'm using. Yeah.
Hello.
Hello, John. I think we've lost Peter. I think he's frozen.
Ah, you got me now. Can you hear me?
Oh, John's got in.
Can you hear me?
Right, I don't really know what I can do here. I'm using, what's the thing called? This, I can't think what it's called now. N.I.N.A.
N.I.N.A, that's what I'm using.
Yeah, so you've got that on in the background, have you?
Yeah, what I did, when you press share screen, it will show all the programs are open on your computer. And if you choose any desk, it should open up onto your computer that's
I've got to try.
controlling your telescope.
I'm trying to find share screen. The
There should
only
be
thing
a
I've got at
button.
the top is share content, but whether that... Let's have a look.
Do you have a green button saying share screen anywhere on your screen?
One that's
Well, never mind, Peter. What we'll do, John, are you ready to go?
Well, I'm just about to. Can you hear me?
Yeah,
Yeah.
we can hear you.
I'm just about to go to a target, M101, if the clouds are not come in. So I can share my screen and show you what happens. And
Yeah, go
N.I.N.A.
for it.
I haven't got the share screen
They
here.
heard of N.I.N.A software. I haven't done it yet. That's why. Right. How's that?
It's coming up. We've got a message say you started screen sharing.
Right. I'm screen. Can you see it?
Oh, well done. Yeah. Well, that looks a fancy bit of kit. So what's this program you're using, John?
Well, this is called N.I.N.A. N.I.N.A. It's a control software. It's a bit like Sequence Generator Pro or something like that. I've been using it for a few weeks now. It's very, very good. Play solving, including everything. So currently at the moment, what I'm going to do, I'm going to go onto a target. So I'm going to look for and click on this here because I have at the moment Carte du Ciel, the planetarium program, open. I've selected the target in there, and it automatically sends that to N.I.N.A. So I click on there, and what N.I.N.A will do is set that target, set that there. If you can see that M101, you see that?
Yeah.
And what it's doing now is it's a little bit slow because we're on Zoom as well, because this is connecting to the internet. You don't have to do this, but what it'll do is it'll download a picture from the NASA Sky Survey, an image, and that will allow you to frame the target. So I can, while we're waiting on that, so it's selected in this framing section. You've got, let me just run through while it's doing that. Oh, there it is. Look, you see that's come up?
Yeah.
Can you see that image of M101?
Yeah. Is that a NASA image or
So
your
there's
image?
No, that's a master image. That's from the NASA Sky Survey.
Right.
But what I can do is I can move that box, which is set to the field of view of my telescope. I'm using a 127 millimeter refractor, 952 focal length. So I can set that, frame that there. Then what I can do, I can just click on slew, and it's going to slew to M101. If I go to imaging now and look at the image, and what I'll do is I'll set a loop to go. Hang on, I covered up there, so we can see that. So it's now slewing. It's taking an image, and we'll see where it is. It should tell me the slew's complete, but meanwhile, when it's done that, I probably picked out the wrong target because it's looking out the window. It's cloudy.
Oh dear. It
Brilliant.
was clear here.
So anyway, let's try and let's try. We're on that target now. Let's say so. It's on the target. So what I do is I'd click on plate solving, right, and that's going to get me to the M101. So it's now plate solving M101. It'll probably fail because it's cloudy. I've been working it all evening and it's been brilliant. So what it does, it takes a 5 second image, and it's now it did solve it.
Well, you've
So
got
it
some
solved
stars there now.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, it solved it, and it's saying that telescope not inside the tolerance, so it's re-slewing to target. So that'll automatically now re-slew me to the target. I haven't done any polar alignment or any star alignment or anything.
Really?
All I did, I set it. Nothing. All I had the scope set, obviously, supposedly on Polaris. When I switched it on, I saw Polaris, so I just plate solved it to get it into the image, and then I did my focusing.
Yeah, here it is.
I'm using a Batinov mask. I'm using a Batinov mask, but you don't have to do that because it's actually got a number of autofocus routines. Now it's just it's still centering the target at the moment because it'll get it slap bang in the center of the frame that I set. Now what I can do, this will do this in a second. This will be, now I'm using ASTAP for this. I don't know who's on. Is Alan on? Alan Jones?
I don't think
Because
so. Yeah.
All right, ASTAP is the new plate solving software. It's absolutely brilliant. That took seconds to solve that, absolute seconds, and that target's now in the center. Now what I can do, I can go back to the framing wizard if I want, right, and I can add that sequence as a target. I can go straight into sequencing it if I want, but I can now add that as a target. You'll see there, one is now the target. You see that?
Yeah.
And then I can now set start. PhD is running. I didn't run it. Nina ran it. I don't have to do anything with PhD. I can tell it to slew to target and I'll check it's entered the target. I usually have these on a also can show you. It also tells me the transit of the target. You can see that there, right? It's also telling me my internet connection is unstable, but that's because I'm trying to do 3 things at once. And what I can do is I can easily set up an actual sequence on here. If I set up lumens, for instance, so I've set it up there, the progress is there. If I set it up for, say, 30 seconds, oh, sorry, a total, that's a total. Set it up for 10 subs, if I can hit that right, of 30 seconds each. It's a light, but I could choose a light, a flat, a dark, bias, dark flat, or a snapshot. I can choose the filter. I can dither it if I want, spinning, whatever. Once I've got the first one set up, all I have to do is press the plus button and it adds another one. And then I can just change the filter. Okay?
Yeah.
Can you still see that? Yeah?
Yeah.
So we could do a red, then we could add another one. Do a blue, and add another one, and do a green. And I can set this to go one after the other, which would do all the reds, all the blues, all the looms after, or I can loop it. And if I loop it, it'll do one of each and then go back to the beginning again. And then all I do is basically I just start the sequence. So just click down here and start the sequence. And what we'll do at the moment though is we'll have a look at this and we'll see the target first of all. So let me just set this. This is just a quick exposure thing you can do. It's very easy to get used to the software after a while. So if I do a 30-second exposure there, and you see down the bottom here, if you follow my cursor, you can see it's doing a 30-second exposure.
Yeah.
And the image is on here. While it's doing that, you can go 1-to-1, so it zooms in. You can see the full screen. You can zoom it in, zoom it out. It's got an automatic stretch on it on the image, which is just obviously for the display. You can put a reticule on if you want. That's the plate solving. So you've got all these things, all these buttons you can move around, and you can drag these. If you click on these down here, they appear down at the bottom. So there you are. There's M101, 30 seconds through the clouds. You can see that there. Let's come up. Yep.
Very good.
So can you see M101?
Yeah, yeah.
So all I do
clear
now, I'm happy with that. I'm happy with that. So I'll go over here and go back to sequence. And what I'll do, because I've set it to start guiding and slew to target and sent to target, if I start the guiding now, if I start the imaging now, hang on, just one thing I've got to do. I didn't do because I disconnected it. I'll just connect my... Right, that's connected. Okay, so I'll start that sequence. Oh, hang on, I forgot to turn the loop off. Sorry. Turn the loop off. Sequence, and now I'll start this sequence. Don't worry, camera cooler's not on. That's okay. So it's warning me I haven't put the camera cooler on, which I haven't bothered with. So what is happening now? It's pulled. The sequencer has pulled up another plate solving window. So what it's going to do is make sure that my target is in the center. So it's currently centering the target. So it's plate solving here. And you'll see it's brought an image up there. It's giving me all the details about that image, all the information. It's saying it needs to move it a little bit. So that's going to do that, hopefully. There you go. And it's starting the guiding now. This will go off in a second, and it'll flip over to. I don't know why it flips over to the actual it flips over to the planetarium for some reason. Don't know why. That's the only bug in it I've found actually. So what it's doing now, it's actually setting up my guiding. I'm not doing anything to it. Right. What will happen is so you can see down the bottom it says start guiding. If I actually show you it, you'll see what it's doing. It's actually doing a calibration. Can you see that? It's doing a calibration on the guiding. I didn't tell it to do.
Down the bottom left.
You should be seeing. Can you see my PhD 2 screen?
I don't think so.
Well, it's probably because it's not on the sharing screen. Because it's a different screen. It's not hearing it.
Yeah.
But trust me, it's what it's doing. It's started PhD2. It's connected it to my camera. I didn't connect it to the camera. And it's now doing the calibration routine on PhD2. So when it's finished the calibration routine, it'll start the sequence. And it'll go through that sequence on M101. And I can happily go away and leave that, and it's brilliant. But there are other, while it's doing that, I can show you your equipment tab. Shows you all your equipment that you can connect. So the camera, and you can see it's connected. Now, one of the things it does, it connects through the native ATIC driver. It's ASCOM. It can use ASCOM, but it doesn't have to. It's better using the native driver, and it will connect through the native driver. So currently I've got the 460EX on this. Chip cooling, I can turn the cooling on there. I can actually turn the cooling on in the imaging screen as well. The filter wheel is there, so it's connected the ATIC filter wheel, so that obviously controls all that. The focuser, I haven't got I had the focuser connected, but I've disconnected it because I was using it through the focuser software because I didn't want to do an autofocus. If you've got a rotator, it'll operate that. Telescope, it'll operate the telescope, and it tells you obviously it's connecting to your EQ mod. And it will tell me all the details there, the latitude and longitude, elevation, what epoch you're using, when the meridian flip is, do I want it to do a meridian flip? It'll do an automatic meridian flip as well. The guider, obviously, it tells you there's all your guiding, and it's actually calibrating at the moment. You see that? You can operate switches, so you can operate power. I don't have any remote switches, so you can do that. You can operate a flat panel. And you can also connect to a weather channel, which I've done. So I'm connected to open weather, and that gives me automatic weather. So I could set that if I wanted to do other things. If I used a switch, for instance, I could open or close an observatory or something like that.
Oh,
yeah. So that's all your equipment tab. Then you have the Sky Atlas tab, where you can choose objects if you want. You don't have to use the planetarium software. I find it easier just to click on the planetarium software and then bring the target into N.I.N.A. But you can choose it. You can choose it from there. You can search lots and lots of targets for your Sky Atlas. In the moment, it'll tell me what the illumination of the moon is, the moonrise, and all that sort of thing. Then back to the framing target, which we saw before, and that's framed M101. For this, I can set the target, I can recenter the image, I can replace this as a sequence target if I want to use a new sequence. Imaging, we've seen obviously, there's where we are. And you can see we're guiding now, and here's the guiding down the bottom. So I don't have to look at the graph on PhD2.
Oh, yeah,
the graph's in N.I.N.A. And as you can see, the guiding's pretty good. So it's guiding really well. It automatically chooses 2 seconds for some reason. I don't know why as an exposure, but it seems to work very well. So this is now doing the sequence. So we're now imaging M101 on 30-second images. I should have made them 60 seconds really, but or more. Another screen you've got is the options screen, and this is where you can set up different profiles. So I've got different profiles for different telescopes and camera combinations. So I can just click on that and it'll load all the settings that I've set for that. So I don't have to worry about plate solving or anything like that. I can set up what directory I want to get where my cache of sky survey images are, which you can download. What else? Well, you can set the actual look of the whole thing. You can set up, whatever way you want. The color scheme is fantastic. And it will set up, that's the general set. Equipment, again, all in one place. You've got all the detailed setup, the telescope focal length, focal ratio, what settle time you want after a slew, whether you want to sync or no sync. It was off there. If I'd had that on, as soon as I slewed to it, would have plate solved automatically. Filter wheel, you can set it all there. Autofocus, filter wheel offsets, autofocus you can set. I haven't really figured out the autofocus yet. I have to figure out the steps and backlash of my focusers and things. So there's that. Then guider settings over here. So you tell it where PhD2 is, and it just goes off and does it. Planetarium software, tell it what you want. You can use Cap de Ciel, Stellarium, the SkyX, HN Sky. So you can use different planetarium softwares. Down here's the weather, open weather map. You put in the API key, which you get free from Open Weather on their website. And that's, so you've got all the options there. Then you've got imaging tab options. So you can set where you want the files to be saved. You can set what the image file name pattern is, and you've got loads of choices to then automatically name them. You can set your auto meridian flips, whether to recenter and plate solve again after a meridian flip. You can stretch the auto stretch factor. I've got it set to 0.2 at the moment, but I could actually set that to 0.5, say. There's no need to save anything once you've done it. It just does it. How you want to annotate images. Again, default folders for sequence files. So once you've done a sequence, if you want to go back to it at another time, you can save that sequence. And if I wanted to do a couple of hours on something and then go back the next night and do another couple of hours, I can just open the same sequence and run it, and it'll automatically plate solve it, bring it back to where it was, and it'll start again. And anytime I can reset the layout, because I can also change that because it's running, but I could also, you see all these boxes I've got here, so I've got the cooler, I can see the cooler is on. The actual filter is active, what the telescope's doing, what the weather is. I can see the autofocus here, so it's looking at the focusing here. So it's not doing an autofocus, but it's telling me it's checking the stars. You can set it to check the stars.
So what focuser?
Meanwhile,
what focuser do you have on your television?
I have the Pegasus dual motor autofocusers. I've got on 3 scopes. I've got them fitted on. I have them on all my scopes really. So it's a lot easier. I sometimes use the Pegasus software to use the focus. I can use it from within here. If I was to choose, for instance, focuser, well, I haven't got it connected. I disconnected it, but it would bring up a focuser box in here where I could actually manually do the focus or autofocus it. One of the other things is really good is the manual focus targets. So if I wanted to manually focus, I click on the manual focus targets and it will tell me the best target for me to focus on, given my location and the time, etc. So I can choose any of these stars, just click on one, it'll slew to it, it'll plate solve it, and then it'll allow me to focus it either manually or autofocus. But meanwhile, it's still going through the sequence. If we want to look at the sequence, we can look at that and we can see what it's doing there. So it's done 3 out of 10, 3 out of 10, 2 out of 10, 2 out of 10, and so on. And it's quite happily going away doing that sequence. It's free software. It's totally free. It's stable. It's very stable. I think I've only had it crash on me once, touch wood, where it hung up. But it is very, very stable, totally free. It took me about 2 days to get used to it. I've been banging my head with Sequence Generator Pro, which I find extremely non-intuitive. Whereas it's got a great look to it. It's dead easy to figure it out. It's easy to configure it and move things around. And I'm extremely pleased with it, I've got to say. Combined with ASTAP, which Alan did a Zoom talk on, if you remember, a few weeks back, the plate solving software, which in my mind is the best plate solving software you can get. You can use other plate solving software in N.I.N.A. You can use anything you like, really. Plate solve to astrometry.net, whatever you want. But certainly ASTAP is the quickest, and you don't need to worry about downloading all different focal length or field of view databases or anything like that. you have two databases with ASTAP, G17 and G18. G18 tends to be used for long focal length scopes. You can download both of them. You just stick them on your computer. I'm actually using G17 at the moment on a 127mm scope, and it's great. I've got a 150mm refractor now, and once I've had to put it onto G18, but it takes seconds to do that, and it solves in seconds. So I'm very, very happy with it. It's very good. Any questions on N.I.N.A?
Well done. You've got to grips with it, and
Yeah.
all you
Excellent.
need to do is a button to clear the clouds away.
Yeah, that's our
Yeah,
problem.
exactly. We haven't got there yet.
How
We
are you
haven't
getting
quite
on,
got there
Peter?
yet.
You having
Not-
success?
well, I've got stuff on screen here, and in fact, I've been using it with Howie this afternoon or earlier this evening, and it's been working fine. But I haven't found.
I'll stop sharing now.
Okay.
I've stopped sharing.
Yeah, I can't.
Peter, I think your internet is a bit shaky
this and
because
see if it
we're
works.
only hearing bits of your voice.
Oh, right. I don't know what I can do here. I can't improve it. It isn't terribly good internet. I have to tell you that. It's never been particularly brilliant here, but no, it's probably gone off altogether, I would think. How's it doing?
Oh, yeah. Hi.
So is anyone else connected up to their telescope? I'll share my screen again, and if you like, I was imaging the Helix Nebula. It's quite low down in our sky, so if I go back to share screen, right, what I'm using here is, I'm just going to move you because you're blocking my, what I'm using here is AstroArt. Let's just see if we're on. Let's okay, green, okay. So it was in here. Actually, what I'll do is probably not going to see a lot. Let's just see what comes up. It's just scanning over the top of my garden hedge at the moment. It's a bit, I tell you what, let's show it up a bit more. We'll change the filter. To clear. Helix Nebula is a very large object. It's a planetary nebula, probably the largest. Well, I'm guessing it's about the size of a full moon almost. You've probably seen an image of it. It's a lovely, the reds and the greens come out very well. But from our part of the sky, of course, it's very low down. Oops, I think looks like we've gone cloudy out there now.
I've just gone completely clear.
Oh, have you?
Yeah, just popped outside and it's completely clear.
David, I've just gone onto the YouTube channel and it's working live on YouTube with no problems.
Oh, great. It all worked. So we're all geared up now.
Yeah, it's all working fine. I just thought I'd have a look and I can see it's got Zoom, you talking, and it's showing up the Helix.
Oh, great. Okay. Well, I think I'm probably losing the helix. It's gone behind a bush. So we'll stop there. We'll go somewhere higher in the sky. Now, what I'm using, oops, where's it gone? Starry Night Pro to control the telescope. So we're right down here. Let's go up to a bigger target. Let's go and see a nice globular star cluster. So we'll ask it to slew to M15. Oh, I think it's got to go around the other side of the mount. Now, actually, I should have been out there because I'm a bit concerned that my cable isn't long enough. So if you hear a crash and a bang, it's probably my computer being pulled off the table. We'll see what happens. Oh, we're coming here. So the mount is being controlled by EQ mod. So it says we're on target. Let's just see. Whoops, if we are. So we'll start with just a 20-second shot and see if we're anywhere near it. Oops, doesn't look like it. Oh, it's something, yeah, we're down here, aren't we? Okay, so what we will do, we will take some shorter exposures. We do 5-second shots. Use the little hand paddle here, EQ mod. And let's see if we're going in the right direction. So a little fuzzy blob here is M15. Oops, wrong way. Okay. So what I'm using, I normally image through a Celestron 9, but it's a bit windy here this afternoon, so I've got my little Takahashi 100. Oh, it's not in focus. These stars aren't in focus. Let me go and focus it. So talk among yourselves. I've got to pop out and refocus it and hopefully get that image a bit sharper. See you later.
David,
Yeah.
David, I'll just, you want me to share again and I can show you some more stuff?
Okay, I'll stop sharing my screen and get it focused up. See you later.
Okay, okay. I'll just share the planetarium software. Can everybody see that? So what I'm using is, David was using Starry Night Pro, which that's what I used to use, but I found it was very resource hungry on my imaging PC. And I started to use this, which is Carte du Ciel. Again, free software, very, very good. As you can come, we're looking at M101, so we're on here, so that's where it is. If I want to find the target, I can just click on here and search for a target. I can put in the number, whether it's a Messier, NGC, or IC, or whatever. Choose whether it's a deep sky object, star, variable star, comets, whatever they are. So it's very easy to search for things on there. But at the moment it's on M11, so it's tracking that. But this is linked in because it's got it's connected to the telescope as well. So this software connects to the telescope, and N.I.N.A connects to the telescope, and they talk to each other. So it's quite simple. You just choose another target. If I wanted M82, for instance, I could click on M82, then I could clear the target that I've got at the moment, which is M101, and set that as a target, and that will then be set in N.I.N.A. So if we go back to, if I share N.I.N.A, is around somewhere. Right, that should be sharing now, I think. If anybody wants to shout up and tell me if it's...
Yeah, you're still on Carte du
Is it
Ciel.
sharing?
You need to unmute your
Right.
card. That's it.
Yeah, I got to stop sharing and then share again. Yeah. I got you. So let's see. Share screen. How's that?
There you go.
Is that now sharing my N.I.N.A screen?
No.
I discovered that you can change, if you go into options, you can change the stretch on the display of the images that you're. Of course, it's only a display stretch. It doesn't actually affect your image at all. I actually set it to 1 to see what would happen, and it just went. It just went white, obviously. Yeah. So currently it's still imaging this target. What I can do is, while that's happening, I can go on that to say and choose another target so that I'm ready, and I can set that as another sequence. I could do that right now, frame another target. So if I go on to Carte du Ciel, bear with me for a second. Let's have a look. Hang on. Oh, my keyboard's gone silly. Cut as well. All right, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to go on to another target. So I'm going to go to the north, basically because there's not a lot I can see in the south at the moment. So if I wanted to go, for instance, to the, say, up the North American Nebula way or the Sol Nebula or somewhere like that, let's go up there. Now I'll show you what I'll do is 1848, so clear that target. You probably can't see this at the moment, but I will do it. So I'm going to set the target to C1848, and I'm going to go back to N.I.N.A. Right, so what I'll do is I'll go to the framing target. I'll again take the target from carte de ciel. What it's done is it's imported that into all the details of that, the field of view, everything in there. The camera parameters, so it's got the nose, the width, everything else, pixel size, the focal length, and it'll come up eventually with an image. I should have set it to my local source, but it's on NASA Sky Survey, so it's getting over the internet, so that's why it's a bit slow. If I should have set it to the Sky Server Survey, which is Sky Atlas, which is offline. But there it is. So this is the Sol Nebula, I think, isn't it? So obviously my field of view isn't big enough to get this all the way in. So I can, are you still seeing this, by the way? Anybody like to tell me? Hello?
Yeah, we've got it here.
Catherine, can you? Yeah. All right. So
I've got it here.
Obviously I can't do the whole, yeah. Obviously I can't do the whole of this nebula because of the field of view of my telescope that I'm using. But if I choose an interesting region of that there, right, and frame it there, when I go to plate solve that, it should go to that region and not the center of the thing. So I can change. I could add that as a sequence now, right? Now, as you can see there, it's now got up here 1848 as a sequence target. It's still doing this sequence at the moment. It'll be finished that in 1 minute. And when that's finished, I can immediately click onto that and start a new sequence. And we would then slew to that target and plate solve it. So this, as I say, this sequence at the moment is just finishing. Probably wasn't long enough exposures to do anything with it really, but certainly it's very easy to use. I don't know what other people use. We've used, traditionally, I think a lot of us with Attic cameras have used Artemis. The problem with Artemis is it can do sequences for the filters, etc., and your exposures, but it doesn't really connect into anything else. It doesn't do plate solving, it doesn't into anything like that. Sequence Generator Pro seems to be the one that everybody goes for, but it's expensive. It's also, well, in my opinion, not intuitive. So yeah, so I mean, you can download it if you search in Google for N.I.N.A, N-I-N-A space Astro, and you'll come up with because N.I.N.A stands for Night Imaging and Astronomy. Night Imaging and Astronomy. That's what it stands for. So if you search for that, get a download. It's not huge. It's a very, very well written piece of software. The guys who write it, I believe it's a German guy that wrote it to start with, but there's a number of people contributing to it. There's a lot of people contribute on GitHub and things like that to the software. They have a forum on the Discord, what they call the Discord server, which is like a forum server. That's the only downside. I don't like Discord. I think it's very, very hard to use just for the forum. But other than that, it gets regular updates. If you suggest something, for instance, I'm going to suggest that we have a slider. Oh, got a satellite through there. For a slider for the screen stretch. that would be better than just on or off, because it's literally on or off, as you can see that. So, and these guys, I'll tell you, within a couple of weeks, they'll have that on there, and guarantee it, they're very, very good. So there we have, that sequence is just about to end, I think. Yeah, that sequence has ended, and it's moved to the next sequence. Now, again, what we'll do is, we're not even on that target yet. We're setting up the sequence. We're not on the target, but what we'll do is we'll say this is part of the Sol Nebula. So let's just say we'll do 5 images of 30 seconds on HA. Normally I would dither. You can dither on here as well. You switch the dithering on. Normally I would dither, because that helps if you're slightly out of focus a little bit. We'll add another one, and we'll go 03, and then we'll add another one, and we'll go S2. Now, what happens now is that I set start guiding on, slew to target on, center to target on, and loop. So it's got the target in here, so it's on the epoch J2000, so it knows the area and deck of the target. It's telling me what the transit is, and now if I start the sequence, hopefully, what it should do is it stopped the guiding, by the way, when it finished. So what it's slewing to the target now. So it's automatically slewing to the target. It hasn't started taking an image yet. I could take an image with my thing here, but I won't bother. Right, now what's happening is the plate was popped up as it did last time. Last time I slewed to the target myself. I just told it to slew. This time it's done it itself. So there, it's taken an image. It's recognized it. It's solved it. It's now going to. It should re-slew it to the framing that I gave it. It has done every other time I've used it, so it should do. So basically, what I'm doing, I've set my plate solving set to 5 seconds, so it takes a 5-second image. Now for some reason that had moved in, right? So that's not going to solve. I don't know why that's moved. It's a bit windy outside. Maybe that's what it is. Yeah, so that plate solve failed, but it's taken another exposure now. It doesn't often do that. I don't know what it's done here. Exposure 105. It's trying to do a blind solve now. That's what's. I've got it set so that you can set it so that if ASTAP fails, you can set another plate solving. So you can set it to astrometry.net and it would send the image to astrometry.net online, or you can set it to another plate solving program where it would actually try and solve it again. I've actually got ASTAP set up as the blind solver as well, so it'll run through that. ASTAP isn't probably the best for blind solving, so that's probably why it's hung up in the solving there.
John, can I ask it? It looks great at taking sequences, but does it actually process the images for you? Does it like stack them and do your dark frames, or use a different program to do that?
No. It's not processing software. It will take images. It will take dark frames. You can set it to. If I go to the sequencer, for instance, you can choose the type of. Hang on, I don't know what it's doing here. It's solving this for some reason. Oh, yeah. After me saying that was a plate. So plate. It's. Right, so it's what did I do? Oh, I had it set to plate solve after every one. That's why it's done that. Anyway, in the sequence, you can choose for instance, what type you want. So you got lights. I can't do it because it's actually sequencing at the moment. But if you choose a light, you can choose a dark frame, you choose a bias frame, you can choose a flat frame or whatever, and it will take those for you. It will operate a flat panel. It won't operate if it's a dark. You're going to have to go and put the front on the scope, the cover on the scope. Although actually, I've just found a filter that you can put in your filter wheel, which is a dark frame filter, and it's just a black filter, so you can automatically set it to a dark frame filter. And then it'll take darks for you automatically.
Won't light get through around the edges of the filter?
Seemingly not. It's so they tell me, but I haven't got one, so I don't know really. But I don't know what we've got in the image here. So that was the last image we had. It's the guiding's gone off. That's what it is. My guiding. I think it's got cloudy again as well. Right, so anyway, what we'll do is we'll stop that sequence because for some reason it buggered it up. So we'll stop that sequence there. If I look there, you can see light, flat, dark, bias, dark, flat, and snapshots. You can have different types. So what we'll do is we'll go to the framing again. I think because I've got the sound on my Zoom, normally it talks to me and tells me whether it's solved or not, whether it's slewed or not. So we'll plate solve that, see what it is. I'm not sure what target we're on. I forgot what we're on. 1848. Right, so it says we're there now. So let me just do just to make sure we're there. We'll lip it off. We'll take an image. As you can see down here where the guiding was, the guiding's come back on now. It had gone off. That's why, for some reason, the guiding had failed. That's more to do. I think it's the clouds rather than anything else. Because we got a big cloud came across. So anyway, we can go into that. We can look at that. We're not sequencing at the moment, so we can restart that anytime we want. But I'll wait until it's done the image to see what we got. But one of the things that I do like is being able to see guiding along the bottom. And my new mount seems to be working very well on the guiding. So that's quite good.
So what mount have you got, John?
I got there it is. There we go. There's a Soul Nebula.
Oh yeah.
You see that?
Yeah.
So that's the section I wanted, just around the edge, this wall of the Soul Nebula. So let's just start the sequence again. So let's see if it'll do this thing. And the mount I've got now, David, is I had the NEQ6, but I got rid of that, and I got the Skywatcher AZ EQ6 Pro. Very pleased with it. I got the new one with the built-in USB ports. So, for instance, EQ mod on this, my EQ mod, I don't have to have an EQ mod cable, a DIR cable. Right, that's telling me that's plate solved that this time. So that plate solved that centered that Soul Nebula target again, and it's now started the sequence. Yeah, the EQ mod, where in the NEQ6 mount, you need a EQ DIR cable. With the new AZ EQ6 mount, all you do is have a USB cable and plug it in.
Oh,
It's got the port built into the mount, so it's much easier. So anyway, there you go. Anyway, the guidance gone crap at the moment. There's a few clouds coming in, so I think guidance gone off a bit. But we'll leave it at that. Anyway, so back to you, David.
Okay, thank you, John. That's great. So if I share my screen. So yeah, when I went out there, what had happened, because it had slewed to the other side of the mount, it had stretched the cables and it pulled the focus out a bit. So I refocused, and there's little M15, the great Pegasus star cluster. That's just done a sequence of 20 in just with the ordinary, there's no filter, it's just with a clear filter. So what do you got in this little patch here? This is the amplifier glow from my camera. That can normally be taken out when you do a dark frame, but we won't bother with dark frames tonight. So I've taken, it looks like 20 40-second shots of M15. We're using AstroArt here. So if we go to pre-processing, files, reset, M15. We'll do a sigma sum. We will do an automatic alignment, just mono, so we're not imaging in RGB. We won't confirm all images, press the go OK button. And it's quickly running through those 20 images. And there's the resulting image. So it's 20 at 40 seconds. If we now go to filters, digital development process, click OK. Use a little slider here. And there's our little trouble with M15, it tends to blow out the central stars. So if you do run another DDP, it begins to look a bit more natural. So of course that's well placed in Pegasus on the meridian right about now. And it's obviously a good binocular object. It's not quite as grand as the great cluster in Hercules, but it's like the second best object in the sky. Right, so what else can we have a look at? We're up here. Here's a square of Pegasus. This is the upside down horse, and M15 is just there. It looks like another little tiny planetary nebula almost next door to it. So let's slew to that and see what that is. Now, this will obviously be quite a small object. So let's just take a 40-second shot. Oh, I know what I should have done. I should have, might not be on the image because I didn't sync M15, that last image. It might be down the bottom here then. Also, it was dewing up a bit. Don't know. They look like stars. That might be a planetary nebula. It looks a bit bigger. It's either larger. I tell you what. Let's resync it. Let's. Oops. Go back to M15 and we'll start again. Yeah, we're right at the bottom. So what we need to do is move it up a bit. Five second shots. Okay, so we are sort of in the middle there, near enough. Oh no, we want to go a bit to the right. Normally, if I'm imaging deep sky objects through this telescope, I put in a focal reducer. It's probably imaging now about f8. So for faint objects, we go down to about f5.6. We haven't got that yet at the moment. So let's go back to Starry Night, and we'll tell the software we are, oops, move you out of the way, going to sync on M15. Right, so now we know that when we click on this little planetary NGC 7094, it should be in the center. So let's try a 30-second shot.
A friend of mine's just won Britain's Got Talent.
Oh, great. Well done. So what's his name?
John Courtney.
Okay.
He's a pianist, singer, and comedian. And he, I met him on a cruise ship when I was last year when I was on one of the cruise ships doing astronomy.
Oh,
and he
great.
came
Well
to all
done.
my lectures. And came to
Great
all my
stuff.
lectures and asked me lots of hard questions.
And how Lynn? I hear she's got to self-isolate.
We're isolated at the moment. I'm waiting on a test coming back.
Oh, well,
But
best of luck.
Lynn's was in contact, so she's self-isolating at the moment.
Yeah.
Fortunately, I can self-isolate in the observatory.
Yeah. So somewhere in here is a planetary nebula, but I reckon it's too small a scale for my little telescope. So let's go to somewhere a bit more exciting.
I've got wall-to-wall cloud at the moment.
Raining down here in Plymouth.
Raining? Oh,
Oh.
gosh.
Yep.
Can you try the something like the Sol Nebula or something like that, David? Or
Well, I thought I'd go for a
the,
brightish galaxy. Let's go. One of my favourite galaxies of mine is. Let's put on. Hang on, move you. You're hiding my. This one here, NGC 7331. I think that's.
what is it?
NGC 7331. It's called the Deer Lit
Oh,
Galaxy.
yeah.
I
Deer
think the
Lit.
telescope's got a slew around the other side of the mount. So we'll see what happens.
Lynn has just told me off for swearing on YouTube.
Here it comes. We'll just do a short sequence to see if we've got it. Oops, it looks like I've lost focus again, or unless it's queued up. Yeah, no, I got fuzzy stars. Tell you what, I'm going to go out again. Whoops.
Well, I'm going to go on to that galaxy as well.
Okay, great. I'll be back in 5 minutes.
everyone, this is John Courtney and I am backstage.
Hi, how are we doing?
Still here.
Can you hear me? We've still got a few
Yep.
left. Well, what I'm on there, I'm on Mars. Would you like to see Mars?
Oh, yeah, go on.
Why not? Why not? I've had to put my scope away, David, because it's pouring with rain here.
Oh, crumbs. Well, it's still clear here.
Well, when John said it was clouding over, I was completely clouded.
So what we've got here, this is a live image of Mars. This is through my little TAC 100 with a 2.5 times Barlow lens. And we're actually imaging it with infrared pass filter that helps show the contrast. This big, you can see this side of Mars is dark. This is called the Great Diaphragm. The old Victorian astronomers call this phase the big diaphragm. This is the Mare Cimerium. So South Polar Cap will be out here, but it's pretty almost gone now. And these are the sandy deserts down the bottom. Round about here is the giant volcano Elysium. Norman Lockyer has a little crater about 500 miles east of the giant volcano Elysium. So what we will do is I'll center it. Whoops. I'm normally imaging through my Celestron 9. So I haven't done much imaging through the TAC. It's a bit smaller. But we'll give it a go. So this is we're using Sharp Cap, putting Mars up there. And what we would do, we're doing 6 millisecond exposures. And you want the gain to be just past the halfway mark. I reckon that's best. We'll do a quick capture. Let's do about 5,000 frames. See how we go. So down here, we're recording 150 frames per second. And here's the frame count down here. So long as it stays on the chip, we don't want it going over the edge. We should be okay. You really need to have the, it's called lucky imaging. You want to be capturing all the best moments of seeing with as many frames per second. Okay, so it's done that. What we're going to do now, we'll go into auto stacker. Sorry, you keep getting in the way. I'm moving you down the bottom. And we will open, we will go to Mars. And it'll be the last image we've just taken. It'll be this one here, 2228. Click that. Frame comes up. We can actually play that. And it's very clever. It automatically aligns it in the software. And then, so what we're going to do, we're going to click the planet option, press analyze. That's looking pretty good. We put on a active point grid, alignment point grid, I should say. That looks pretty good. I'm going to go for use 75%. We'll cut it back. We'll go for about there. So we're using 63% of those 5,031 frames. We're going to drizzle 1.5 times, and we're going to stack. Now, these are quite small images. It's only 144 by 128 pixels. So it should process them quite quickly. So it's done that. Now we're going to go to Regis stacks. We want to select. It stores them in a little separate folder. We chose the, which one did we choose? 63, was it? Yeah, it was that one. Double click that. And now we play about with these sliders. So this wavy band here is the Maricimerium. Let's overcooked it. So I'm guessing that's as best as what we can do. So we do all, and we save that image. So that will be infrared parts. So we will carry on and we'll image in red and blue. It looks like it's going a bit cloudy. We're getting a dimmer image now. So we're going green. Ooh, looks horrible. It looks like we've lost focus there. Never mind, we'll forget about getting other images. The other little program I use is quite clever. It's this little program called Topaz Denoise. And what that helps you do, if you've got a lot of sort of background noise in your images or they're a bit pixelated, it will smooth them out. So if we go back to our Mars folder, that's a little Mars image. You don't want to overcook it, but you can see it's taken out a lot of the specklediness. Yeah. What you've probably got, you've probably not sure you can see it. There's a little whitish patch here. That's probably Olympus Mons, just going around the edge. What we can do, we can check if we go. Where do I want to go? Yeah, it's not working. Can you see Google coming up? Are you able to see BAA?
Yeah, we've got that, David.
Okay, so you can see we've got an inverted view. So this dark bit here is this dark bit here. And Olympus Mons, yeah, it's just over, be over this side. So that's a giant volcano on Mars, 3 times the height of Mount Everest. So amazing, you see a little volcano on Mars with a little 4-inch telescope. Okay, folks, time's going
Brilliant.
on. We've been at it an hour and a half. So does anybody else want to say anything or have any questions for me or John or Peter? Right, okay then, folks. Let's call it a night.
Well,
Many thanks for coming along, and thanks to John for showing us N.I.N.A.
yeah, yeah.
Sorry, I didn't catch that.
No, it looks a very good program, David and John. It's quite impressive. This end, I've been working this with Howie half the afternoon, but I seem to have failed to get it working with you. But
Okay.
when John said he was just about seeing the images, it was completely clouded over here. And in fact, when I just looked outside, my scope had got rather damp.
Oh dear.
So,
Okay, well, it's probably
but it's all right.
my
I've just
way.
drawn the. I've just drawn the roof over it, and I'll dry it out, and we'll start again.
Can
But
Howard show
it
us
hasn't
any?
been Sorry?
Can Howard show us any images from the Pyrenees?
Well, he can't really because he's been raining. It's been raining there for the last 2 or 3 days, and he can't do much at the moment. But in fact, I've got him on FaceTime on another thing here. But he's been watching most of the evening.
Oh, great. Jolly good.
So that's quite good. But no,
Yeah.
it's been very good, very informative.
Yeah.
And I've actually just downloaded N.I.N.A to see what it's like. But if John said it took him 2 days, it's going to take me a fortnight, I think. It's quite complicated. But there you go.
The documentation on the website is excellent and very, very easy to read. It's written very well, and you'll have no problem at all once you just get into the documentation. If you just go to the equipment tab and go down there and start setting stuff up, it is easy. You'll get used to it.
Well, I'm sure there's always a learning curve with these things, John.
Sure, yeah. I've got total cloud now, so it's
yes, it's blown over from me to you, so that's why.
It's headed my way next then. Okay, folks, we'll call it a day then. But we're going to have a do join us for the Devon Dark Skies night on the 23rd of October.
23rd,
We'll do the same thing again.
Indeed.
Cheers. Thanks very
Okay.
much.
Bye, David. Bye, everybody. Thank you. Bye.
Thanks, everybody.